Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
they can.
thank you. Thank you. So, so when you're looking for the CTA certification, which your students will actually complete on their own, you'll go to the dcte.ade.arkansas.gov website, and then you will, at the top tabs, you're going to click on licensing, and then you're going to see the certified teaching assistant. So this is going to give you, all of the qualifications that your students have to meet in order to attain the CTA certification. They are going to complete this online application, and it's a Google form. But when they go in to complete that application, they're going to have some documents to upload to show proof of, for example, they're going to have to upload a copy of their transcript, and that's going to show that they have completed in the Pre-Educator program of study. So that should show that they have taken the level 1, the level 2, and the level 3 courses for Pre-Educator. They are also going to have to upload a copy of their paraprofessional assessment, and it has to show that they have passed that assessment. And then they are going to have to upload a field experience log for documentation of 80 to 100 field hours. And then once they are approved, after they've completed the application, and I will click on this application. Can you all see that application there? Okay, so once they've completed this document, and you'll see where they are going to upload their files, they'll hit submit, and then they will be able to get recognition and receive their CTA certification. One thing that we want you to pay close attention to when you're preparing your students to fill out this application is that they are going to put in their school email address, but they also have to have a personal email address. The reason for that is because a lot of times when the certification is sent back to them, you know how it works. Sometimes the students can't get outside emails. And so a lot of times it'll be sent and then they never received it. But also most of your students are going to be seniors, and they're going to be transitioning into, going off to college or working, and then they won't have access to that school email. So they need to be prepared and have a personal email address set up so that they can actually receive the certification. Also, in the future, they can reach out to the Division of Career and Technical Education or our Family and Consumer Science office, and they can get that certification sent to them at any time. So if they lose it after they get it, but 2 years from now they need it to apply for a job, then they can reach out and they can get that certification. Okay, let me turn that off. Okay, so are there any questions related to CTA before I turn it over to Jamie? We really want to see students taking advantage of that CTA certification. And so, we are hoping that we're seeing more and more of those submitted.
Amanda, you said that they have to have their parapro test as well before they can do that?
Yes. So it's got a list on the website. It kind of lists everything that they need. So they'll need all of those documents before they can complete the application and earn that certification.
Amanda, someone in the chat before you leave us mentioned playbook, where to find that. And I thought that was really good thought, especially for, for anyone, but I know
now, and let me,
from that.
Yes, let me pull that up and then I'll share my screen. If you guys have, let me see. I had it bookmarked, and then our computers have been kind of updated, and so all of my bookmarks messed up. So let me grab that.
While she's doing that, Helen, we also have a website. I hope everybody's been on that. That'll kind of help to kind of an FCCLA website if you wanted to find a little bit more information about that. But then this website that she's showing you is awesome for program areas.
I'm sorry. They completely reorganized. So. Why don't I turn it over to Jamie, and then I can interrupt her and say, here it is. Whenever, let me find it real quick.
Okay, I have a question while we're waiting. Is this a new program, or is it just under another name and revitalized?
So yes, it's just
Anybody can
basically
answer.
it's just a new name. It used to be Education and Training, and there are also different options. So some started off doing what we used to have, Orientation to Teaching 1 and 2, and some people started with Teacher Cadet 1 and 2, and then we have some that are using the Ed Rising curriculum to teach our level 2 and 3 courses. So it's just kind of been revamped. We partnered with the Division of Elementary and Secondary Education and to kind of create one program instead of two completely separate programs that we used to have. DC, our FACS program, used to have our Education and Training, and then DESE used to have Teacher Cadet. And so now it's just one.
Are you ready for me?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, you go ahead.
No,
Find this. I'm having a minute finding it.
oh,
I just sent you the
playbooks?
link, Amanda.
Are you and me still go and you're just gonna put it in the chat? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Hello, everyone. Per usual, I'm like flying by the seat of my pants here. But so what I did, Jessica sent me questions that were asked. I'm not sure who asked them, but I guess they were follow-up from the last presentation. And so I put those into a slides presentation to go through with the intention of having all the answers already in there, but they're just not. But I'll share my screen, and then I'll just either go to my Google Classroom or my Drive and show you guys everything. And then just interrupt if you have questions as we go. Okay, so this is, what is this, the third one? This is the third session about this. Okay, so
Yes.
my plan is just, is just to answer the questions and then show anything new that I've done because of just different things, virtual and stuff like that. And then that's it. And so then I'll just answer questions and stuff. Okay, let me share with you real quick. All right, can y'all see that? Not, okay. Y'all nodding, okay. All right, so I need to move this thing. There we go. So, one of two questions I did manage to answer here, but there was a question about just how early in the fall semester do you start allowing your students to go to internships? And best case scenario, I get them there at the beginning of November. I try to give them 2 different internships, and that way they get to experience a class or a grade, and then if they want to change, and I can choose one. And sometimes I require that they change grades. Like if they're just not sure of the grade level, or I may just go, even if they like super don't want to, because they get in their comfort zone and don't want to change, then I'll still have them go try a higher level if they're in elementary or vice versa. But sometimes, and so like this year, my first year kids, they're not to their internships yet. We're like middle of February, so they've not been at all yet. I didn't think they could go at the beginning, and so we did the other things I wouldn't have added into the calendar. And then I found out everybody could go, and so now we're on track to try to get there. So they're doing these presentations now, and then right after this, I'll start going over the expectations and then start. But other years that don't have like all the craziness and stuff, they still don't go to second semester, and it depends on the things I have there. Like sometimes the students just learn really slow and have to re-go over things a million times, or sometimes they're not respectful. It's just overall behavior. I just kind of take a feel for it. Like, are they ready to go or not? And sometimes they just need a couple more presentations before they go out to their internships. And then I did one year, I don't know, like if you guys have like behavior problems or people you just don't feel comfortable putting in internships ever, but one year I had a student, sometimes I don't want to place people in internships because I just know their personality is not going to work well with it, or they won't know how to respond to students. I do anyway, but I don't feel real confident about it. But one year I had this kid, he had an anger problem. Like he couldn't even interact with me well. And so, I just talked to the principals about it and told them I just was not comfortable placing him. And so starting then, what I did, made an internship eligibility form. And basically just like, these are the things that are expected of the students before I will place them into an intern. And so, yes, it was based on one student, but I went ahead and added some other things in there to make sure everyone was prepared. And so, and this just kind of like covers all the bases when like a student, it just, I guess, I don't know, give the documentation needed to take a kid out of an internship or to not ever place them in one if needed. And then the year I created this, the students helped me create it. Oh, I didn't, obviously, here, this needs to be fixed, but what am I doing? Okay. So, you can just kind of read through there, and then, because at that point I had no way to say that you couldn't go. Like I hadn't like talked to them about what they needed to do, but so now I have this, and then this is from last year. I just wanted to show you, this is the calendar that I gave them last year for their internships. Y'all see that? Okay. And I probably baby them a little bit. I'll try to put everything in there. So like the first day, and then I so any communication they have with their mentor teachers, I make them carbon copy me on the email. That way I like stay in the loop with what's going on. I do require like certain emails to be sent, and when I give them their expectations, like, the day before a video is taught, an intern can't come to me and say, hey, I've been trying to teach my lesson, but they won't tell me what I can teach about or whatever. They up front, they know that I will not help them with any of those problems unless I can see in writing that they have tried to get the answer, because I'm not gonna contact their teacher about them doing me, if, you know, they're doing me a favor taking an intern, and I don't want to like accuse them of not being helpful. So they have to, it's a assignment for them to email their mentor asking for a date and a subject for their lesson. And then every week they're there, they do a reflection. And if you've been to these little training sessions, the previous two, you should have my Google Drive link, but if not, I will send it out. Their best is not very organized, but you have to use a search bar probably, because, you know, it's probably a mess. But anyway, so every week they do a weekly reflection that they're there. And when they are there, there are a couple of scheduled times they come to me. So so like right here, so like on this day, they came to me these 2 days. So this year, I must have put them into their internships before I felt comfortable with their lesson planning abilities. And so scheduled two, I wanted to go ahead and get them there. So I just scheduled in 2 days that we would go over lesson plans a little more. And then they have an observation form they do while they are there. And then they have journals, and those are due when they walk in the room this is the first day back after internships are over. While they're there, they do they teach 2 lessons they do not. The one that is not videotaped, their mentor has to fill out a rubric, and they don't get the grade the mentor gives them. They get the grade. They get a completion grade just for turning it back to me, into me. Okay, but there's that. Any questions about any of this? Okay. Another question was, can you share the letter that you send to cooperating teachers? I spent like my last 15 minutes before I got on here actually looking for this. Fortunately, I guess, I have my teachers, I use the same ones a lot now, and so they kind of know what's going on. And so I actually couldn't even, the only email I could find that was like introducing the program and all this stuff was from 2013. And I did not feel, I don't know, I didn't have time to like look over it. And so I didn't want to just put it in here, but I did put this in here. It's like an email I sent, I think it was last year, just asking one specific person for if they would take an intern. A lot of my kids would be elementary. It's the junior high kids that I have trouble placing, but I just like provide like a little bit of info about what the internships are. At this point, like there's either usually like someone around that has had an intern before, or they have had one before. So I usually, when I was pulling out my emails from the past few years, I always go back and try to email somebody that I've already used. And so instead of having to go through all the hoopla of letting them know what the program is, I'm just saying, hey, can you take an intern from this time? But I do have this, form that I have for mentor responsibilities. It's kind of overwhelming now that I look at it. And this is, I don't know when this was from, but this just really just says on there, like, what time my kids are supposed to be there. It tells them that they have an observation form the first week. So if they see kids working on something, that's what they're doing. And then it tells them about the 2 lessons, ask them to contact me, little things like that. And then this, I send this, this is an email I just sent on the day of this year. I think this year, but it just, some little reminders. I mean, my kids, they are so much more comfortable in a classroom when the mentor introduces them to the students. I don't know why every mentor wouldn't just do that, but they really don't. I don't know why so many of my kids tell me that their teachers just like don't even acknowledge them when they walk in the room sometimes. And so I try to I probably ask them like at least 3 or 4 times to make sure that they introduce them. And like this year, I was like, well, no, this one isn't from this year, because this year I made sure like to tell them that I have told my students that they can't just sit wherever. Like they need to make sure that for COVID related purposes, they're where you want them to be. So please make sure they know where to sit. Otherwise they're going to be randomly sitting or standing at the back of the room and all that stuff. But anyway, so that's just one I sent on the day of. Or any question? Well, I don't know. That's not a very good answer, but I don't have a like legit letter that I send. So, I mean, and what best case scenario, and it's not at all of our schools. We have, I don't know how many schools we have, like 14 schools in our school district, but there's one particular elementary that the principal, she is amazing, and she helps me get, like I don't have to say, I just have to send her a list, and like she'll help me get everybody placed. But like at the other schools, it's not like that. It's much more difficult. I kind of got to do more things on my own with like getting them placed, begging and all that. So if you can build relationships with the principals at the other schools, that makes that a lot easier. Okay. How are teachers? Okay, well, I don't know if we want to have like a group forum, but like my school district is allowing us to go into the classrooms. And so I'm not having to deal with this. Now I can, oh, by the way, the other 2 questions are the only 2 I actually got an answer to the slide. So now we just have the questions. But so mine are letting us, but before I knew they were letting us go, I had sent out a Google form to all the or multiple principals that just said like, how can we help you, kind of a deal. And so like for Christmas, we made a bunch of Whoville houses for one of the elementary schools. And I logged that down as field experience because it was things the teachers were having to do that we were helping out with. And then we have a bulletin board at one of the schools that we keep up with. That is super stressful. I mean, I did not think it was going to be stressful, but like I sent all the stuff out, like try to get us some internship hours of field experience. And then all of a sudden we could go to internships, and my second year students are there. My first year students are not there, but, and then all of a sudden, like I had all this stuff going on. And so, if you're going to read out to get field experience that way, I wish I would have just started with like one person and went from there. But, some ideas I have had, we had a 2-week waiver after Christmas where kids could choose to be virtual for those 2 weeks. During those 2 weeks, my second student, my method student, had a lesson due. And so, and I mean, I'll ask their permission later. Okay, don't just play on the die. But I'm gonna show you, instead of postponing it, I went ahead. I gave them 2 options. I told them they could Zoom in with the class and like teach us and not. But I strongly urged against that because they're students, and I feel like the kids would just eat them alive. But I had them record a lesson and do their set and state their objective and do all those things. They still had to ask their discussion question. And I just told them when they asked a question to pause and give time, like if the class wanted to like discuss it, like the teacher wanted to pause, or I told them they could say, like, okay, Thurman is going to discuss with you, so pause the camera. Or when they were living out their activity, they said, okay, Miss Thurman or whoever is going to give you a piece of paper right now. So, so I'm going to wait for all of you to get the paper, and then we're going to go over it. And I thought it worked really well. I actually liked it so much that I'm going to try to, I don't know what kind of assignment I'm going to make out of it, but I'm going to show you. Well, I don't know. They were so nervous. Let's see. And I think whenever I started sharing my screen, I clicked the button that said share sound. So I can see your little y'all. So if you can't hear this when it starts, then I'll shake your head no or tell me in the chat or something. We're not watching this whole thing. I was just going to show you a little bit.
Good morning, everyone. Today we'll be reading the book
Turn my volume. Okay, good.
Howard B. Wigglebottom Learns to Listen. But before we read the book, tell me why listening is good and how it helps them. As you read the book, by the end of it, y'all will be able to tell me and explain why listening is important and how and what are some consequences when you do not listen. Let's begin. Howard B. Wigglebottom Learns to Listen.
I'm going to skip the
So
end.
Howard gets extra time to play and have fun. Where you would have to be a good listener when at school. Create a situation where you would have to be a good listener when at school.
Okay.
Something
So
important.
now I'm just getting her in her weird little pauses. So, but I think kids were on, went virtual or during those 2 weeks. And I super loved watching them. I mean, I like watching them in the classroom too, but that just kind of like condensed everything. And I don't really know what the difference was between me watching those and watching them in the classroom, but I don't know. I really liked watching them. I just felt like I could see them more. I don't really know. I can't explain it, but also they turned their videotape lessons in on Google Classroom too. This first year they've done that. It's super amazing that I don't have to worry about getting the videos uploaded. Let's see. Do your schools have Chromebooks? I don't know how to see all of you. I'm trying to.
Yes, we do.
Well, if they do, okay. Well, so in the past we've used like flip cams, which were amazing, but like the battery started like kind of corroding, and so like 2 school years ago, like every time we taught a lesson, just weren't on the camera anymore. And I mean, and even if it's a good student that I believe, like they're still disappointed that their lesson didn't record or whatever. So last year we started using iPads, which was fine, but like our iPads don't get updated or anything anymore. And some of them wouldn't even upload to YouTube, and it kind of turned into a mess. And this year, but I don't let them use their phones because it just all turned into, oh, I ran out of storage in the middle of it, or, oh, I don't know how to get it to you, or it's just always something. So, but one of my students that she was quarantined and was doing her intern makeup assignment, and I'll get to that in a minute, but she recorded her stuff on her Chromebook, and that has been what has worked the best for us this year. So I don't know how y'all may have been doing that for years, and I am behind the curve, but they set their Chromebook up, turn the camera on, and then it uploads it saves to their drive. So, and that has been real easy for them to turn their stuff into me on Google Classroom. And And then the makeup assignment for internships, and this could be any type of assignment, but anytime my kids miss their internship, in order to pick up that hour, because we need every hour we can get for a CTA certification, because last year that we got out of school 1 week into, I think they went to their internships, for their second internship for 3 days last year. So for my second year kids to make up for those hours, we need more than the required hours this year, if that makes sense. I'm in a circle, but so we can't afford for them to miss any of their internship days. And so every time they are out, they have to record themselves reading a children's book and then upload an assignment. I have a shared Google Drive folder with them, and they each have their name in it. And every time they're absent, they make a folder in there with that date, upload their video of them reading, and then an activity that goes. I'm not trying to take them forever. That's not what it's meant for, but I want them to learn how to be resourceful. And this kind of goes with this next question about where they get their information to teach. So at this point, I've already taught them how to use Teacher Pay Teachers and Pinterest and find kinds of things. And so I tell them before they choose what book they're going to read, go try to find an assignment that goes with it. And they'll make sure that they can find one pre-made, but they can also make it themselves. It's just totally up to them. I don't make all my stuff from scratch, and so I don't make them either. Okay, and then this question. So like, where do they get their information to teach? I leave it up to mentors on whether they, like lay out the whole lesson for them, or just kind of have them go on their own. Sometimes it makes the workload a little unfair, and you have one teacher that shares their slides presentation, all their worksheets and all that, and then another can create it all on their own. But I just tell them up front, it is what it is. Like, I can't control that. So I do have a Teachers Pay Teachers assignment that we do that has them create an account. I show them how to get free downloads, and I show them, so I have them just go ahead and create for my class, and any any resources they find, they can save them on there, but they don't have to. Really, they do for this assignment, but they don't have to overall, because the free, you can always access the free downloads on account. So and then I have them make a Pinterest account also, which most of, in my use of it, most things I find on Pinterest take me to Teachers Pay Teachers anyway. But and if you guys don't use Teachers Pay Teachers, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. There's so much stuff on there. I find stuff for my kids. Like, if I don't want a snow day activity thing right now, because we're just already doing too much stuff. But if I did, you could just go in there and type in snow assignments and filter it to give you the free stuff, and you can filter it by grade level and all that. But okay, and then also I found this website this year. I'm creating the class for virtual Arkansas. So it's like super awful. It's really hard. It's just time consuming, but anyway, but I have found a ton of new resources that I didn't know existed. So what I was trying to find this like real quick. This is actually the starting place for this, but over here, like, so this is the Division of Elementary and Secondary Education website. And then there's all kinds of playbook. We have our playbooks that we were talking about, but then like, so does everybody else. So I'm just randomly clicking on one, but here is, so math unit plans for fractions. And then here's a pre-test. Here, there's just like resources. I haven't looked through all these, but here's an anchor chart, lesson ideas that are hyperlinked. And so we have access to all of all of these things. If they want to go and look there, they can look there. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay. But no, there's no certain book, there's no certain curriculum. I mean, these are just the places they pull from. They search online just in general. I mean, sometimes they come and ask me about, like, I mean, I help them a little bit, but really I will just direct them back to here. And if they, I mean, they have to learn how to find the ideas. And by the time they get to their internships, we've already done multiple assignments where they have had to create a worksheet and use these different resources I have listed on this page. And so if they're at their internship and they don't know how to do these things, then I don't really feel sorry for them a whole lot. But and I also have them direct them back to their mentor, because, you know, they're so scared to email everybody. And I'm going to be adding an email etiquette thing on there also, because they don't know how to do that either. Like, don't put punctuation. They just talk to their mentors like they're talking to their buddies. It's super embarrassing. But it's a downfall of having them carbon copy me on everything, because then I see everything. But anyway, okay, so there's that. Got all right questions? Okay, what's happening? Okay, so I was checking the chat real quick.
I do. To have this many assignments, do you have a limit on the number of kids you can have in one class?
I don't have a limit. No. Usually I have I usually have 40 to 50, no, around 40 first-year kids and 10 to 15 second-year kids. Is just what I have. I know some schools are a lot smaller than that. I wish there was a limit, but this year I'm not struggling with that. This year my numbers, I have had a ton of kids go virtual, and I don't. I know one of the questions on here was about the assignments I'm giving, and like, so our school, we didn't do it like a lot of schools, just certain electives. We only have 5 electives that are offered to our virtual kids, and my teaching classes are not one of them. And so I don't have this. When my kids are quarantined, I give, you know, I adjust the assignments so they can do them at home. But I don't have, I'm not able to keep those kids in my class when they leave. And so this year, I'm down to like, I have 2 different periods of it, but I'm down to like 20, just a little over 20 kids. And so in the first year class, I have 11 in the second year class. Okay, did that answer it, I guess? Is that what you're asking, like the amount of assignments?
Yes, the number of kids, and, you know, everything you bring in, you know, you have to grade it and all that. So it's a lot involved. And do you get most of them to actually do the work and to turn it in?
Well, yeah, most of them, but like, look, I'm real lazy a little bit. Well, I don't know if I'm lazy, but I don't like to, like, I'm not grading like some, a ton. So let me just go, I'm going to just go find one of these assignments. And so I can kind of show you, how I might would grade it. Well, okay, this isn't, I'll look at for the other ones in a minute, but I do a lot of things. Somebody said that they're submitted a question about Google Forms, like using Google Forms all the time. And I don't use them all the time, but I'll tell you, if I can, I'll use them. And so I made this, I'm not gonna go through this whole thing, but I just made this slides presentation about like standards and like how to find your standards and stuff like that. And then this video about Common Core, it wasn't in the frameworks anywhere. And so they need to know how to find their standards and stuff like that. So I found this, and then so like the assignment to go with that was just a Google form. And I love Google Forms because it puts all their work in one page. So if I can create things like this, what you were asking, and I'm getting to that, I just saw it and I didn't want to pass over it. But so I don't know if you use Google Forms, you know, like just like, so all their work is just right here. So that and so like, I'm going to skim this, you know, I read a little bit, you know, but let's say I am real busy and I just need to get graded, then for that moment, I might just be like, whoop, you know, check mark, we're done. You know, this one isn't long enough, and this one, but anyway, just showing you that. Get back over here. I don't think they have done taking your kids. I let I said every year I say I'm not going to let my kids make a children's book anymore. And then I did it again and I hated it again, but we spent a lot of time this year making the children's book. So it took some time out. Okay. Hang on. Let me just do it like this. Okay, I really do hate it that everybody's work shows up in my Google Drive, but it's really to my benefit right now. Okay, I have no idea if this is going to be any good. Okay, but this is somebody's assignment. So when they did this assignment, they I gave them a skeleton presentation, a skeleton slides presentation. So I gave them this piece of paper that has like the steps, and that made it easier because they got overwhelmed. So when I broke it down, like, okay, step 1, do this. And then step 2, do this. And then here's the template. And then I gave them this. This is what I meant, like maybe I'm like dumbing it down too much. Where'd that go for them? But I almost always give skeleton presentations that that they just have to fill in the blanks, kind of, not the blanks, but it tells them what goes on each slide. And so this is what was posted on Google Classroom. And I put those examples there. So screenshot of the resource they found, what objective was met by the resource. And then they also had to save this stuff. So when they are presenting it, or when I'm grading it, he actually got up in front of the class and showed everybody what they found. And so while they're showing, they're just going through it, telling a little bit about each one. And then I just added in this part to make sure, because I wanted them to learn how to look at their standards and find things. And so I am, so as they present it, then I just mark it off. Like I check mark it. I probably have, I would have a rubric, I probably have a rubric somewhere, or I just go through, like, did they have 7 resources? Did they have 7 objectives? And then move on. So I'm not like going through there with a fine tooth comb or anything like that. Now there is one, I have one assignment that's kind of a lot to grade. They're doing that right now. To go over with you anyway. Let me see. But if you want something that's gonna take up, I hate to say it like this, but let's be real. It takes up a lot of time, a ton of time. So if you don't want to make lesson plans for like 4 weeks, listen up. But it does end up being a lot to grade. But I've been doing this for a few years, and I really like it. The standard 3 with the characteristics, things that impact like learning. I think it's standard 3. It was unit 2 in the old ones, and I combined multiple things for it to be characteristics that impact learning, like special needs and environmental factors, like parents getting a divorce, or parents like substance abuse of a parent, and like how that would impact the kid, like different things like that. And so for this assignment, they're given a topic. They have to create a slides presentation, a note-taking guide, and they have to submit 5 questions on a Google form that's formatted just like Kahoot, and that way I can upload it straight to a Kahoot, and then they can play when they're finished. And so for this one, they're not all like this, but for this one only, and the reason, and I had to do this because it was like subjective on like my grading. Like I was having trouble because I would know like who worked really hard and who didn't, and I didn't want it to like sway my grading. So when they give their presentations, it's just like a lesson. Oh, they have to make a lesson plan too. It's just like a lesson plan, and this is what we do before we go to internship. So this is actually what my kids are doing right now. So the way they're presenting it to the class is the way they'll teach their lesson in their internship classes. So like they're nervous wreck, and so like I don't like they're not being counted off for like being nervous or anything like that. And so, and the other day, this girl gave me permission to tell everybody that she was a nervous wreck, and so everybody just needed to give her grace and nod their head when she's talking, just for a little bit more like affirmation. But so this is how I grade videotape lessons for the most part. I just adjusted it a little for this assignment, but it has, did they complete their set? Did they do their objective? Did they question their audience? The assessment and the closure at the end, and then their knowledge of content here. Yes, oh no, that's okay. And yes, Bridget, I will share everything. And then now I used to just say, okay, make a note-taking guide or something, but then, you always say, I tell my kids, they're always like, why are you grading us with rubrics? Well, because if everybody would just do what they're supposed to do, they wouldn't be necessary. But since people try to, find loopholes and everything, we just need these. But so their note-taking guide, they just have to have 10 blanks on it. And then it says its format was consistent with examples on Google Classroom, and all that is, I have a like here's a link to some, and then like there's not have to be fancy or anything. I show them little ways that they can like add text boxes and stuff like that. Oh, spacing, different things. And then this is the skeleton presentation I talk about. I always give them, I do make them like choose a theme. Some of this stuff, like I don't always choose a theme. A lot of my slides presentations are just like this one, white, because I'm just busy and doing it last minute. But I just want to show them how to do different things. Like I don't want them to just get the content, but I want them to know like how to use technology at least a little bit. And so they have to give me the overview of the topics, the statistics, impact on student learning, identifying the problem, additional information, resources, and then it, like I said, they have to have imported a theme that I show them how to do that. But so they, let's see here, here is like the timeline. I looked before we started. I posted this stuff on January 20th, or 26th, but we started talking about these presentations on 20th. And I have about 2 more class periods of finish had we not gotten out last week. We should have finished up last week. But so if in the writing there, I went back and updated kind of things. I don't know if that's up to date completely. This is like way overwhelming for them. I totally so the first time I told them about this, like most of these attachments weren't even here. I went back and made some of these this time, but so that when I first talked to them about this, it's just like this slides presentation. And then like later I talked to them about the note-taking guide, but otherwise, like you asked if they would complete it, they probably would not. But like, so I give it to them in chunks. And then I don't just say like, hey, this is due on this day. So like first thing is they were completing their presentation and that was due on this time. And this skeleton presentation is really what takes away their nerves. It seems to be, at least. They know exactly what I want from them. Oh, and this 10-word max stresses them out to the max. I hope they don't ever hold me to that, but if you look on like websites and like college, the way they teach on, in college to do things like all the recommendations I can find say 6 bullets, no more than 6 words per bullet. And so I tell them, I'm giving you 4 extra words, but it also helps them with not copying and pasting and actually looking at the information, learning it and rewording it. But anyway, and so they have the class time to make the presentation, make their lesson plans, make their note-taking guides, and then I have the different places for them to like update their things. And then on this Google form is where they do the, and this, I love this thing because you can do that. Say like you're not prepared for something, you can tell them to go look up right brain, left brain learners and create a question about it or give everybody a different topic. And then they can come here. But the main thing with Kahoot is the character limits. Like you can only have so many characters for your questions and your answers. So I just always have to make sure I tell them that in order to get credit for their questions, then they have to meet the character limits. That's just because I don't want to go back and reword them. But after this is submitted, if you upload this into Kahoot, if you import it, you don't have to go in and make any questions. They're just all there. Okay. And then now this has not been fun, like at all. I probably complain about it all the time. I feel bad, but since I've had people that are quarantined during the presentations, I have to record the presentation and put their note-taking guide on there. Oh no, it doesn't seem like it's that much work, but it just really is, like getting everything set up and then making this a PDF so they can like open it in Cami. I don't know if y'all have Cami, but and they're probably not doing that. Some people are, but either way, they're responsible for filling out the note-taking guides, and it'll be a grade at the end. So I do put those on there for their makeup work. And then when they get stressed out, sometimes these are just like a video of me going over like how to make a note-taking guide. Okay, so let me tab on where I'm going. Okay, and so this one, we are required to enter 1 grade per week. That's the minimum that we can do. And so in other classes, I don't struggle, but sometimes I do in these because they work on things for a bit of time. And so like for this, that standard 3 presentations they're doing, there have been a few days I've just had to give them like a progress grade. I've checked on Google Classroom to make sure they did things. And like one day I was out and they worked on it. And we have this new cool thing that I love so much called Go Guardian. And so I was able to go onto there and like see like whether they were on task or not. And so that's how I could give them a grade. But sometimes their grade is just like a discussion or talking about something. But I probably stick pretty good to that 1 grade per week, except like now, like when I've done all these presentation grades, those are like all going to go in at the same time. So it's going to have like 3 or 4 in a week or for that week. And then, okay, for this one about the virtual assignments, I'm just going to go through my classroom and see, I'm going to see how I've adjusted things. Let's see. That for assignments, if y'all don't, I don't know if you guys use EverFi, but there are this one here, the Ignition Digital Wellness. It's a industry recognized certification that the students can get. Your business teachers may offer that also, but my foundations kids complete that certification. It's on just like protecting yourself online and like internet safety overall, creating a presence online, different things. And so that is one thing that some virtual kids can do. Is anyone, like, do you guys know, I can go into more detail about EverFi if I need to. I don't know if y'all need it. I do 2 things on there for them. Well, so they did that certification, and then what did I, now I'm forgetting what I've done in which class. Oh, there it is. Okay. And then sorry. Why it's not letting me click on that? Okay, so we do that digital literacy one, and then I also have them do this one here, honor code bullying prevention. It's for 8th grade students, but just has different things about, you know, being kind and how to encourage people positively within each other, you know, good things that teachers need to know how to do. So industry recognized certification, but I tell them they get a certificate of completion at the end. So that is something that I had them do. I had them do one of those last week on, I think, the first day we were out for the weather. But these take like, these I think take 20 minutes. That's what it suggests for like 8th to 10th grade kids. And so some of our kids can finish them in like 10 to 15 minutes. But and then also, I don't know how long this stuff has been there, but I found some of it recently. But there are, well, not popping up, but they're like little curriculum guides and things that additional assignments that you can do with some of them. that go along with the modules. And so that's pretty helpful. When I taught finance and we did the financial literacy one, that was one of my main things. I felt like, you know, they were doing these modules, and I felt like I needed to create these follow-up activities to go with them, but like I didn't have time to do that. But now it seems like that they all have them. But these are just the ones that I have added on here. But I'm having my dynamics of human relationship kids are doing this one. They also do, but teaching kids could also, and then they also do the character playbook about relationships, education. There's all kinds of stuff on here. And then you could even have for virtual, I've never done it, but I've thought before, things like this, like the Compassion Project. Like it's for second, third, and fourth graders, but like if you have kids interested in teaching younger grades, you know, you could, just the way the stuff is presented could help them just like learn a little more about how you need to interact with kids that age. And so just having them complete it could be good. And then okay, for like when we went over lesson plans, when I taught them that, so like I videoed that lesson because students weren't there. So, and then I didn't have my in-class kids do this, which I think I will moving forward, but for like the virtual kids, or the kids that were recorded or absent, I just made this worksheet and had them put in 3 things they learned about these sections. This was just part, like I had to split it up. I talked too much. So this was one of the videos. And so this is what they did just so I could hold them accountable for watching the video. So that was one difference, except after I assigned that to the virtual kids or whatever, I thought, well, that's a grand idea. I should have kids do that while they're listening in class. So they're not just staring at me. And then okay, and then here is just when I told you, whenever they were making their children's books, I had them for teach the foundations class, I had them record themselves reading a children's book to make up for that. They didn't have to find a resource like the second year kids did for they were really just seeing their reading, because I have them record themselves reading at the beginning of the year, and then we talk about like different things. I get the media center specialist to come talk about like the importance of like enunciation and stuff like that. And then at some point they get graded on like actually like how they're reading it. But it's like more like improvement grade, because you know some people, they just can't read good, you know, or they struggle in that area. And so it's not about like how well read, it's how their improvement from, you know, from one video to the next. But when all this was going on, like this been the craziest year of my life, like I know for everybody, but like I didn't even listen to this. I like opened it and like I like this girl, I don't know, she read a chapter book, I don't know why, but
reading I Survived the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980. Probably going to read first chapter, even though it's only front, back, and
well,
pelted her like bullets shooting down from the sky. Then whoosh, a blast of wind exploded
so
out from
like that right there, just hearing like her like reading with enthusiasm, that's probably all I listened to, and I marked her down for full credit for that day. Because that was just because that's the sweet girl, she was quarantined for, oh my gosh, forever, it seemed like. So her parents had it, maybe like back to back had it or something, and she couldn't anyway. So she was gone for like 24 to 30 days straight. It was a mess. But anyway, let me go back here. Okay, so this was, my kids did like a quote assignment where this was the beginning of the year where they just choose a quote and tell how it pertains to education. And so I just had them say, like, record themselves and turn it in. Like 1 minute, why'd you choose your quote? And then attach it, which I don't know why I said email it to me. I should have made that an assignment and had them upload it there, but I didn't. But no, I try to keep things the same as they can, because like I can't manage 2 different sets of assignments. And so if I can just adjust a little bit, whatever I'm working on, we're doing in class, and that's what I do. I'm not the most organized gal, and so I don't have 2 different assignments every day. Like, you know, I just like, it's all like by the seat of my pants. But like this one here, the Harry Wong website, I don't know what the website is, but you can type that in. He has the First Days of School book. We watched I forgot her first name. Shalonda Soroyer has a First Days of School video. It's really good. She just goes over like her procedures and stuff like that from reading the First Days of School book and going to like one of Dr. Wong's presentations. But so in class, the ones that were in class did this, like they filled this out while they watched it. But the ones that were at home, the video's a DVD. So the ones at home, I posted this PowerPoint along with something else that was free on the website, and had them, look through that and then fill out this form. And so instead of them watching the video, they kind of did this. And then pretty much that, I think those are, we had like, if there's I think this is, I try not to be like no makeup work, but like, I think like this day, I'm pretty sure that's what that says. No makeup work. I didn't have time. It was what was. So they did presentations that day and they just didn't have any makeup work. Okay, so I can look at the first, but I'm about to just open it up to your questions. So I'm just going to look here, see if there's anything. Now my second year, any kid, when they go to their internships, they self-grade their videotape lessons. So before I grade them, that really speeds up the grading, because they have to put in, well, one, they have to grade themselves. So just by them doing that, they kind of justifies my grading a little bit. But these things that have these boxes over here, they have to tell me what time those things happened, because I'm not watching the whole thing completely. I will watch the beginning and get the set and the objective. And then, I will watch enough to get a few discussion questions usually. But then if I didn't like hear a discussion question and then I skipped ahead and then like, well, what did I miss it? And it was just a lot of like back and forth. So then I had them start telling me when they happen. And so I still just like watch my little chunks of it, but then I always have here like when exactly they happen in case I missed them. And then, I mean, this is like cut my grading down in like more than half the time it takes me to grade, because I mean, I watch enough to like get all the grading, but I'm not watching like 50 different 25-minute videos. And I actually changed that to 30. I don't count off for time. Well, I don't know why, but right now I'm not, if they're over, because, you know, sometimes it's a really good lesson or like kids have questions. And in order for my kids to meet the time, they would have had to rush. And so I extended that to 35 minutes for now. But I think I showed this in the last one, but my kids do a second year kids, they do a reflection every week. And their name, the date range of the week, were they present and on time, and if not, if they were absent or if they were late, like what was the reason. And then they have to write 3 detailed sentences about their week and like what they did. And then if they don't have, if it was kind of like a boring week, they don't have much to write, here are a couple prompts that they can write about. These are also due even if they were absent or quarantined for the whole week. And so they would just put, you know, absent here and then quarantined here. And then, but they still have to write these 3. And so they can use one of these prompts instead of information from their week. So that takes away me having to like do an alternate assignment for this. But they do this every week, and this can also work for like documentation of their hours for the CTA certification. And then usually my kids would have, there used to be a spot where they had to put like daily activities, like what they did. But I this year their descriptions down here were really good. And so I took that daily activities part out, and then there's just a reminder there that as long as they keep providing me like good details down here, then they don't have to do the other part. Okay. I mean, I got like all kinds of stuff, but most of it was covered in the previous ones. But I think if you have questions or want me to show you something else, I can just tell me. Do I need anything? Want me to cover something else?
I have a question.
Okay.
And you may have said this earlier, I may have missed it. I signed in late, but your information on like the videos where you have the honor code and the bullying, will we have access to use that? Because that looks like a really good video to have my students do, but I don't know anything about. I've never used that before.
Are you talking about were you talking about EverFi here?
Yes.
You cut out. Yes. Okay. Well, all of this, it's self-paced, and so all you'll do, if you want your kids to do it, you'll like get your account, and then you add, like you go to classes, create.
So now, one of the other things, some of the materials that people use, I can't always use it because I teach at Arkansas School for the Blind. So it really just depends on my student and where they are, because some of them do need some different types of modification. So that's where I run into a problem and where I struggle, because some of them need for it to be like audio. I only have one student who is on this track to be a teacher, but to be honest with you, it's a learning process for both of us. So my student body is very small as far as having students go through this track. And because it's very small, I like hand walk them through it. So whereas more schools may have more than one FACS teacher, I'm the only FACS teacher. And it just depends. This would be my 3rd year, but I haven't taught too many of the same classes every year because I switch with what my students' needs are, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I bet that makes your life difficult.
It does. It's kind of stressful. So some of the things that people suggest and some of the things that people use, I can't always maximize it because it's not for my student body. So now this particular student only has low vision, But even now, as far as setting up her praxis, I'm having to make sure that they have the modifications in place for her. She is very specific in wanting to only teach Head Start or pre-K. She doesn't want to teach anything older than that. So that was going to be my next question. With a student body as large as yours, is it difficult with all the different subjects that they want to teach? Because I can focus on specifically what she wants to do, because I would never have that many variety or that large of a class at my particular school.
Well, are you talking about like preparing them to teach? Because like I'm not an elementary teacher, so how would I do that? Is that what you mean?
Right. I mean, right. So some of the things, I mean, I feel like it's just tailor-made for her and her desire to only teach elementary. But technically, I've never taught elementary, and I'm a non-traditional student. I mean, I'm just finishing up the program. So again, we're learning together, but it's a lot of information to try and put into play from where I'm sitting.
Oh, for sure. So I tell my kids that that's why I'm placing them in an internship.
Okay.
Is so they can learn a lot of that elementary stuff. I've also had to like find like blogs or let them find blogs or like different like tips on teaching elementary. There's a Facebook group called Education and Training. It's super helpful. Hang on, let me just. I think it's just called Education and Training Teachers, but yeah, yes.
Okay.
And there is so much information on here. Like you can like comment on there. I know we have things in like art for Arkansas, or like things that we have like created, and those are good too. But this has, you know, people from all over and like what they've done. And I know that I have seen on here places with like videos of people teaching stuff.
Okay.
And then also, where's my thing for this? Where's my Zoom? I can't even find it. Okay. Also, there are all kinds like the phonics or different ways that students are learning how to read, especially over COVID, the quarantine time. People made all kinds of like online lessons and videos and things they were doing. And so like just today, like my daughter, she's in 2nd grade, and they were learning about the consonant LE. And then, so like there was a little 10-minute video of her teacher, like teaching that. But it just like the way she was speaking to them, her actions, you know, how animated she was, like different things like that. I mainly struggle with like redirection. So I don't know how to help my students like know how to like interact with the kids, because it depends on like their mentor. So I just tell them to always, if they're confused or unsure of what their like role is, to ask their mentor person.
So now, one of the things I have been able to take advantage of is because we're a school for the blind, our campus is K through 12. And then we do have a Head Start program that we call the STACK program. And so she's able to intern in one of those classes. She works with one of those classes now, which is helpful. But again, I just want to make sure that she still has information, because our school is tailor-made for children who are blind or low vision. So I feel like as far as the general population for public school, then she may be lacking, because again, that is where she's interning, is at a blind school. So I do try to make sure that she get more information to be prepared for teaching in a public school setting with a larger class. So that's something else that I struggle with.
Yeah, I would have her maybe give presentations to you.
Okay.
Make you her audience. I know there is for FCCLA, there is one of the STAR events, early childhood education, and the whole thing is about presenting, and like your judges are your students. And so I don't know like how easy that would be like to adjust, but like you could just like, since it's just the two of you in there, you know, give feedback at as you go and have to rely on like I know if she's talking like above somebody's head, you know what I mean? Like just not like
Right.
bringing it down enough or explaining it enough. But that may be something that you could do. You could also, and I don't think I've mentioned this, but whenever I thought that my teaching classes was going to be one of the ones that went was a offer to our virtual kids, I had thought that my students could observe virtual teachers in their Zooms. Like we have all virtual teachers. And so like they could be added to their Google Classroom
Okay.
and could watch their videos or join their Zooms with their classes just to see how they interact and redirect. So that may be something she could do.
That's a good idea. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I heard you say that you had been teaching this for a couple of years or whatever. So have you had any students to actually graduate that have had your classes?
Yes.
Graduate high
And like
school?
to come to. Yes.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I've been teaching. This is my 11th year to teach this class.
Oh, 11 years. Okay, yes, you have. Okay, do you find that it helps with scholarship offers for educators? Can they use this? Does it boost?
Well, I mean, I don't like know any evidence of that. Like, I don't like know like if it increased it or not, but it does provide, I mean, so whenever we're like doing stuff, and I tell them like, you list this on your resume. So they like volunteered to make Christmas decorations. We made those Whoville houses. They, reading to kids when they make those like videos, and then like just having like hands-on experience in the classroom, like listing that on the EverFi stuff, they're getting, even though that one is just a certificate of completion, like they have completed a training on like how to have positive relationships and stuff. So like all that like are things that their classmates wouldn't have. They're it's adding to their like resume and their applications and stuff. So I don't see how it could not. I mean, let me not use a double negative. I didn't know how to finish my sentence. I see there's only like it has to benefit them, in my opinion. But like I don't like know like for sure, but
All right, thank you.
Anyone else have a question or want me to go over anything? I mean, I didn't do a lot of assignments because they were covered previously. I don't know who was in all of those. Y'all have any questions? Now I did, in case you didn't see, and if you give your second year kids the paraprofessional assessment, I was having trouble getting that scheduled, and because everywhere I could take it, they could only do one at a time, and it was just a fiasco. But now they're doing it, I don't know the official words, but like they're like proctoring it via the computer or something. So like you could even take that at home, like somebody would watch you take it, I guess. And so like my plan is to get them to, well, it doesn't have to be a computer, like I said, their Chromebooks, but they can, now I can register them, and it's $55 per person, but it's required to get the certification that Amanda was talking about at the beginning. But now I don't have to worry about like having a test proctor or going to a site or anything like that, because they'll have their own proctor on their computer.
Does your co-op cover the cost?
Our Perkins, it is going to be paid for through Perkins. We're not in, I don't know the word, we're not in a consortium. Is that the right word? Where like a bunch of schools are like grouped and have one Perkins person at a co-op. Like we each have a person at our school, but I'm sure, but it is something that is covered by Perkins. And then speaking of the co-op, that is who I contacted to try to get, like they give the exam, but they could only house one person at a time. So if you need to know like a contact person, you need to reach out to someone at your co-op. But if you're in the Wilbur D. Mills Co-op. That's who I have, and they can only house one at a time. Any other questions? One thing only thing I have written down over here that I haven't mentioned, and I have no idea like what I'm doing with this. I just wanted to point out, March 2nd is Dr. Seuss's birthday. And the whole week, like March 1st through 5th is Read Across America week. And so that could be a good week that you, like our club, we haven't really done anything, but like one day that week, I think we're going to stay and like read multiple, like record multiple children's books. And because my goal, and it has been for multiple years, but I haven't done it, but is to create a YouTube channel that can be shared across our school district for like special needs kids in elementary classrooms. Just, you know, if they want a book read to them or something like that. So, but I plan to like try to do something with that. The only reason I know is because my kids they have dress up days that whole week. Throw that out there. Anything else? I'm gonna stop sharing this screen real quick. I can't see all of you. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat real quick. Okay. All right. I'm happy to go over anything else if you need some. If not, Amanda said to that I could cut it short if there weren't any questions, but I'm happy to stay on and talk one-on-one or show you more resources if you weren't at the first 2 sessions or missed one. But did they go over like attendance? Like, did you have to do something for that? Like or y'all just, y'all get an hour, don't you? A PD hour? I'm gonna take a picture of this screen in case they want some. I'm sure they have it recorded. Y'all want to smile? But okay, well, thank y'all for being on here. And if y'all need anything, stay on, we'll chat. If not, y'all have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.